Welcome to my apothecary. Today we're going to be diving into a topic that's both practical and powerful: kitchen herbs for everyday wellness. Did you know that many of the herbs that you already use to flavor your meals have incredible medical properties? Let's explore 5 herbs that you probably already have in your kitchen: thyme, basil, oregano, rosemary, and sage. Plus, I'm going to show you how to make some wellness products that you can use every day. A wonderful herbal mouthwash for oral hygiene, an antimicrobial herbal salve for cuts and burns, an herbal hair rinse to keep your scalp in tip-top condition, and a wellness vinegar that you can use both as a digestive tonic and a salad dressing. Let's get started. First up, basil. Known for its sweet aroma, it's not just a pizza topping anymore. It's rich in antioxidants. It can help reduce stress and inflammation. Basil tea is a great way to calm the mind, but even adding fresh or even dried leaves to your meal is a great way to get benefits.
Think basil is just for pizza? Think again. This aromatic herb has been cherished for centuries, not only for its bold flavor, but also for its impressive health benefits. Packed with antioxidants, basil helps combat inflammation and supports heart health. Its essential oils can aid digestion, reduce stress, and even fight bacteria. Plus, basil is rich in vitamins A, K, and C, boosting immunity and promoting healthy skin. So next time you're cooking, sprinkle some fresh basil on salads, teas, or soups. Your body will thank you.
I'm not sure about you, but I'm not convinced that polymers, silicates, synthesized chemicals, artificial flavors, and artificial colors are the way to oral health. Tooth care has been around as long as people have had, well, teeth. But as we've moved forward in society, we've actually adopted a much more chemically dependent lifestyle. And therefore our mouth care and our oral care and our tooth care has followed suit. We now inject a lot of fluoride into our body, which as adults we don't necessarily need, and we take in less calcium and bone building minerals than we used to. We use a tooth powder. It is something that I make myself with natural minerals such as calcium bentonite clay, activated charcoal, and different herbs like orange mint. Things that are going to both clean your teeth as well as freshen your breath. We also use a mouthwash that is not Smurf blue. We use something that is made with herbs. And so I'm going to show you how to make that today. With just a few herbs and a few ingredients, you can make this as well, and you can keep it in your bathroom for up to a week, natural, or up to 3 months if you add some ingredients to it. So we're going to start with our herbs, and we're going to go through them one at a time. We've got basil, we've got peppermint and parsley, and sage. I think we're going to incorporate fresh as well as the dried into this tea. So the process is pretty simple. We're going to actually make a tea. We're going to let it cool. We're going to strain it, and then we're going to add a little bit of alcohol and salt to it to preserve it, and also to add minerals to it for oral health and for cleanliness. So I'm going to get started by adding some distilled water, and it's important to use distilled water because you want something that is inert. Tap water has the fluoride in it. It has other minerals and things like that in it, and bacteria. Therefore, if you're putting it into something you're going to store long term, the chances of it collecting and growing bacteria are significantly higher. We want to avoid that. So start off with distilled water, and then we're going to bring that to a boil in our kettle. You can hear the kettle starting to get ready to boil. In the meantime, we're going to start with our herbs. I'm going to use this basket to infuse the herbs with the hot water, making a very strong tea. So in our tea basket, we're going to be using the peppermint and the parsley. Parsley is good for fresh breath. It's got great flavor. It's full of vitamin K. Obviously, we're not going to be swallowing this, but you may absorb it through your gums. Peppermint, obviously, is very zingy. It's also antibacterial and antimicrobial. So we're going to add a teaspoon of each of those herbs into our basket. Then we're going to add in some basil. Basil is antimicrobial, antibacterial, and it tastes great too. So we're going to add a tablespoon of that. Sage is incredibly antimicrobial. You sage your space to make it free of bad juju as well as bacteria. We're going to do the same thing in our infused tea. For our mouthwash, we're going to use a teaspoon of that. And for giggles, I'm going to use a couple of leaves of my fresh basil and some fresh parsley from my tragically sad and nearly spent arrow garden. It's just got parsley left for right now. We'll be refilling that shortly. That smells so good. I want to eat them all, but we're going to save them for the tea. Now that our kettle is boiling, we're going to infuse our tea. It's important to use very hot boiling water. These electric kettles are terrific, but if you don't have an electric kettle, they seem to be more efficient. We've done some testing here on it, the properties of it, boiling time and whatnot, versus our kettle on the stove, and these are quite a bit faster. So take your boiling water and infuse your tea. You're not going to be adding a whole lot of water to this because you really do want it quite concentrated. But you do need enough water to cover the herbs so they continually infuse. And now we're going to let that sit for 15 minutes. While you're waiting, it's important to label the container that your mouthwash is going to be going in. I just recently labeled this one. It says mouthwash January 25. It's the end of January. So this will keep for about 3 months the way I'm going to make it. If you choose not to add the one ingredient, which we're going to talk about is alcohol, then this will last about a week to 2 weeks in a sealed container and used 2-3 times a day or however often you're brushing your teeth. Now that our infusion has brewed for about 15 minutes, it's still quite hot. We are going to take a bottle, our labeled bottle, put a funnel in it, and we're going to pour in our infused liquid. Next, we're going to be adding in some sea salt. Use natural sea salt. Don't use mined salt. Certainly not iodized. I'm not a big fan of it unless you're low on iodine, which most of us are not. Natural minerals come in your salts. Pink Himalayan, natural sea salts. What we're going to add is we're going to add a pinch. So I'm going to use this teaspoon measure just to add probably a quarter of it for this bottle. And what that's going to do is add minerals to it. It's also going to be antibacterial and antifungal to make sure that this lasts a little bit longer, so it'll last the 2 weeks that you're going to be needing it. Is add the alcohol to it. We don't really want to burn off the alcohol. And for a bottle this size, or a funnel back, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons. Again, this is an optional step. If you're one person, you're making this whole bottle, you're probably not going to use this right away. So you need something that's going to help preserve it. So once this cools, make sure that you use a top that seals. Put this in your bathroom and you're ready to go.
Just wet your toothbrush, dip into the natural tooth powder, and brush for a fresh, clean feel. Spit, rinse, and then follow up with the natural mouthwash. Swish, gargle, and spit. Pure, simple, and refreshing.
Next, thyme. This tiny herb packs a punch. It's a natural antimicrobial, making it great to support your immune system. The next time you have a sore throat, here's a delicious way to soothe it. Take honey and infuse it with thyme leaves, then take this in your tea, or take a spoonful of it. You'll feel better in no time.
Thyme. It's not just a delicious way to season meats, chicken, and fish. This powerhouse herb has been used for centuries for its incredible health benefits. Packed with antioxidants, thyme supports immune health and fights free radicals. Its natural compounds like thymol have antibacterial and antifungal properties, making it a go-to for sore throats and cough relief. Thyme also promotes digestion and can help reduce inflammation.
Infections and scarring from cuts, scrapes, Burns, bruises, and other contusions are a thing of the past, as long as you can remember to use just a few herbs and some natural ingredients to create a salve that is going to take care of those nasty cuts, nasty scrapes, nasty burns that we all get every single day. With that, we're going to be using some very simple ingredients. Organic castor oil. Castor oil, along with a couple of other oils, are close to being bioidentical to the oils in your skin, so your body recognizes them as self, not as other. So it's not fighting against the absorption of this oil, it's actually accepting it. We're also going to use some natural herbs. We're going to be using thyme, which is very antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral. Basil, the same. I like to add lavender to my recipe because I like the smell of it. I think that lavender works for scarring. It prevents it. We're also going to add a little bit of lavender essential oil just to gild the lily. This recipe is a half a cup of castor oil. Now, you can do this in a double boiler. You could do it as a cold infusion in a jar, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this half a cup of oil and put it into a small crock pot. This mimics a double boiler without actually having to watch it for a long period of time, which, you know, having a busy house, it does not help to have something that's going to require a lot of your attention. Now we're going to add the herbs. This recipe calls for a tablespoon or a teaspoon of each. This is a teaspoon of the thyme, a teaspoon of the basil, and a teaspoon of the lavender. Put the lid on, turn it to low, and let it infuse for 45 minutes to an hour. Now, for optimal results, I would turn that off and seal it with cling wrap or with a plate or something that's going to provide some level of sealant, and let it sit for at least 24 hours to cool. Once that's done, strain off the herbs through a sieve or cheesecloth, and then return that clean oil to a clean vessel. So you can, again, use this double boiler method on your stove, or you can use another crock pot if you have one. What we're going to add to that half a cup of oil is 3 tablespoons of beeswax. Now, this is beeswax that you can buy in the store. It comes flaked, kind of in like little, I don't know what those are called. Flakes, we'll go with flakes. Proportion-wise, a salve or ointment is going to be 1 part of beeswax to 4 parts of oil, or 6 parts if you're making a balm, something a little more firm. So, but we're going to split the difference and we're going to add 3. We're going to cover that over, turn it to high, and wait until that beeswax melts. Once your beeswax is completely melted, go ahead and turn off the heat on your stove, burner, or in your crock pot. We want to turn the heat off of the oil because we don't really want to break the oil any more than it's necessary to infuse it. We're going to use some of the lavender essential oil because I like it for scarring, and I also like the scent of it. So for this small container, this is approximately a 2-ounce container, I'm going to add in about 12 drops of essential oil. Then we're going to take a ladle and we're going to scoop up a bit of our product and pour it into our container. And that's why I have the towel on the table, because I am messy. But you don't have to be neat to be effective. And since I'm the one cleaning the kitchen, it doesn't really matter. This needs to cool completely before it's used. I've already labeled it. I call this my ouchie salve. I also dated it for January of 2025. That way I know that within about a year or so, I'm going to refresh this. The beeswax is perpetual. It's kind of like alcohol. It's very preserving. It doesn't accumulate bacteria and mold. However, I do believe that effectiveness is diminished over time. So once that's cooled, I will put this on my container, and I will put this in my first aid kit. Did you know that some commercial shampoos and conditioners have forever chemicals in them? Things that you'll never get out of your body. Did you also know that some conditioners have products and ingredients in them that are considered hormone disruptors? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So we use more natural ingredients, and you can too. We use a natural bar shampoo that we make and we sell. But we also use a vinegar rinse that is full of herbs and is also better for your hair, made with apple cider vinegar. And we also use cool water on our hair. Let's make some natural hair products for all of those gorgeous tresses you have, or just a healthy scalp for those that don't.
Rosemary, fragrant, flavorful, and so much more than just a kitchen staple. Traditionally used in Mediterranean dishes, this woody herb also boasts impressive medicinal properties. Rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, rosemary supports brain health, improves memory, and enhances focus. It's known to aid digestion and even boost circulation.
This hair rinse couldn't be easier to make. It's made with apple cider vinegar. This is vinegar from my apples in the fall, but you can use a good quality store-bought organic vinegar with the mother. And some dried herbs. So let's go through those. We've got burdock root. We've got basil. We've got rosemary. We've got lavender. We've got something that's kind of funky called horsetail, but it's not made of horses. And then nettles, which are great for your body to eat. It's high in vitamin C and other minerals and vitamin A. And it's also great for your hair and scalp. Combine those with some distilled water after we infuse them. And they make a great spray in, but rinse out hair conditioner that balances the pH of the scalp and the hair. So we're going to use a nice clean jar with a hermetic sealing lid. And we are going to add 1 tablespoon of each herb to the jar. Next, you're going to add vinegar to cover. Close that tight, give it a swirl, label it, and set aside. All right, we're going to strain off a bit of this hair rinse into a beaker through a strainer. You could also use cheesecloth, but this seems to be fine enough. I'm only going to strain off enough for me to use for this particular batch. If I was going to make a larger batch or for multiple people, you can give this away as gifts. It's a great gift for those that you love. Once that is strained off, we're going to add a few ingredients to it. And we're also going to put it into this nifty little bottle that has a spray attachment. You can get these at your local Container Store. Whole Foods also carries some, but like the Container Store does, or you can also buy these online. All right, so there are some optional ingredients that you can add to your hair rinse for smell. Although you are making it with apple cider vinegar, once it's rinsed away, you really won't smell the vinegar, but if you'd like to add some fragrance to it and some better goodness for your hair, please feel free to add the essential oils that you like. Now, we're going to add approximately, for this 2-ounce bottle, we're going to add about 1/4 of volume of it with the vinegar. So that's going to be 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons. The balance is going to be made up with distilled water. You don't want concentrated vinegar on your scalp, so we want to dilute that down. Apple cider vinegar is around 5% acidic, but that's still a little too high for me. I want something very pH balanced, and that's what we're looking to do with hair. When you shampoo your hair, the detergents and the surfactants in your shampoo, whichever kind you use, pop the cuticle layer of your hair, and then it washes out the dirt. The objective of conditioner is to soften, but most of us don't need that. We need oils and things like that in our hair, but we want to close the cuticle layer. That can be accomplished with this vinegar and or using cool water. You just smooth that cuticle layer back out in the hair and it helps your hair be shiny. I like this because it stimulates the scalp and it's healthy for you. So let's add our water. Give it a little bit of a shake and put this in your shower. Now, every time you shampoo your hair, and by the way, you shouldn't be shampooing your hair every day, men or women for that matter, it strips the natural oils out of it. You can use warm water or tepid water on your hair to refresh it. If you use a bunch of products on it, you may need to use warmer water, but if they're water-soluble products and all natural products, they should rinse out of the hair. But we're going to put this in our shower and we're going to shampoo up.
So the husband actually has more hair than I do, so he was voluntold that he was going to participate in this segment. He uses our rosemary mint shampoo bar to lather up, then rinses. Then he sprays through the vinegar tonic that we've made, massages it through, and then gives it a quick rinse. It freshens up his hair, makes it look clean and shiny, and all so sexy.
Oregano, a kitchen staple with potent antimicrobial and antiviral properties. It's also a great digestive aid. Just sprinkle it over salads, roast veggies, or sprinkle over your soup to boost both flavor and wellness.
Oregano, bold, aromatic, and more than just a pizza topping. Traditionally used in Mediterranean cuisine, this flavorful herb is also a natural healer. Packed with antioxidants and powerful compounds like carvacrol, oregano helps fight bacteria and viruses, supporting immune health. It's been used for centuries to aid digestion, soothe sore throats, and reduce inflammation. Whether sprinkled on roasted veggies, infused in oil, or brewed as tea, oregano brings both taste and wellness to your kitchen.
Last but not least, sage. Known for its earthy aroma, sage is a traditional herb used to soothe sore throats and digestive issues. It's also a great mood booster. So brew it into some tea, or use it in traditional dishes like roasted meats or stuffing.
Sage. Earthy, aromatic, and rich in history. Traditionally used in savory dishes from roasted meats to stuffing. Sage also offers powerful medicinal benefits. Packed with antioxidants, it helps protect cells from damage while supporting brain health and memory.
Now that we've met all of the herbs, let's combine them into a recipe that's going to promote wellness and is absolutely delicious. A wellness vinegar. We're going to be using most of the herbs that we talked about today. So we've got rosemary, sage, oregano, thyme, and basil. We're also going to be using apple cider vinegar. Again, this is homemade, but again, use this from the store. Get the organic, make sure it has the mother, just make sure it's pure and wonderful as possible. That's the easy part for the vinegar. So with that, we're going to combine our herbs in our vinegar. This is messy, so I know I'm going to spill it all over the place, so just be prepared, because that's what we do here in this kitchen. It's a teaspoon of each. Let's make sure that all of the herbs are in. Give your jar a nice tight seal and give it a shake. Now, this vinegar should probably sit for about 2 to 4 weeks. It depends on how strong you want the flavor and how strong you want the medicinal qualities of the herb. Once your wellness vinegar is strained, it can be used for a number of things. It can be taken directly as a teaspoon in your mouth. The other way is to take a teaspoon of it and dilute it in water. You're still going to get the benefit of the dose, but it's going to be much easier to take. Is to make a salad dressing, and who does not love a salad? This follows along the French vinaigrette recipe, where we're going to be using mustard. We're going to be using an aromatic. You can use shallot, but I like garlic because, number one, I love the flavor of garlic. 2, there's a lot of health benefits to garlic and immune boosting ability. We are going to be using a little bit of our own raw honey, salt and pepper to taste, and olive oil. We are going to put our garlic in a bowl, about a teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and add a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper for flavor. And I'm going to add my mustard. Choose your favorite brand. Then we're going to add about 2 tablespoons or 2 teaspoons of our vinegar. So the classic proportion for a vinaigrette is 2 to 1. So 1 portion of the vinegar to 2 portions of oil. So since I put 2 teaspoons in, it stands to right that this is going to take about 4 teaspoons of olive oil in order to make the vinaigrette emulsion. So I'm going to stir this up a little bit just to kind of get my flavors melded. I'm actually going to add a little bit of honey because I do like it's a teensy bit sweet. Then the fun part, the theater of cooking, is to make this emulsion. So we're going to be whisking while we're adding. So just add your olive oil in a drizzle and keep whisking. Keep whisking until you see that it actually is fully emulsified and that's starting to get creamy. We're up at about the 3 tablespoon or 3 teaspoon amount at this point, and now we're at 4. And you can see that the dressing mixture is starting to thicken, and it's just the right consistency. So now, of course, we have to taste. Tangy, a little bit sweet, and ready to go on a salad. Once your dressing's made, make sure that you drizzle it over your salad and serve it right away. It keeps overnight in the refrigerator and it does develop flavors, but it's best when it's first made. So, enjoy vegetables and salad dressing, full of health. Hmm.